Hello, Night Nation. I'm Trey Strolka with Adam Eaton. Welcome into Sons of UCF Live. Adam, funny seeing you again so soon today.
It is fancy meeting you again, Trace. I know folks thought maybe we were going to be in a staring contest at the Celeste. I hate to disappoint everybody, but we are in our usual setting here tonight.
Let's clue folks in. We were part of the Varsity Knights golf tournament today. A good time had by all, the who's who of UCF out there on the links. We battled some wins, but it was good talking with Coach Malzahn and others.
Yeah, I always enjoy getting a chance to interact with the Varsity Knights. I know there's a lot of conversation these days about NIL, and rightfully so, and the future of our programs and getting athletes. But it's also important to not forget the people that built the foundation of where we are. And so many of those people were there today, Trace, and to get a chance to interact with them, see them interact with each other, frankly, right? Like, and you and I just get to be flies on the wall to hear some really cool and funny stories. It's just awesome. So anytime we can give back, particularly to the folks who were around when you and I were coming through the school and who built the program, always a good opportunity. And by the way, I learned I'm probably not the worst person at golf because I saw there may or may not have been a roof hit today. That's all I can tell you, folks.
Yeah, that is true. Of course, this coming on the eve of the spring game, Knights versus Knots, Friday night, beginning at 7 o'clock in the Bounce House. You will be there in attendance for that as well.
Yeah, I can't wait. Third year in a row, I think I've been to the spring game, so I can't wait. I know, obviously, I'm not expecting some sort of rigorous grudge match, but it's always a fun time, always a chance to kind of wet the whistle a bit. This is the last football related activity we have for another 5 months or so. So getting out there, seeing the team, seeing people, Trey, seeing some folks like you, and hope to meet a whole bunch of folks. I've never met Andrew Cherico, so I'm hoping Andrew Cherico or Chirico, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So a whole bunch of people I want to get a chance to say hi to. So it'll be a good opportunity to network a little bit and watch about a half of football, if I understand the schedule correctly.
Yeah, it kicks off at 7 o'clock. I mean, it's pretty much going to be like practice, a little bit more, maybe a scrimmage. What are you most looking forward to seeing that you haven't picked up on from the clips and that you've heard talked about, perhaps from the players and coaches throughout spring camp?
Really defensively, Trace, I think I just want to see and again, I don't think you're going to see a ton, but more energy, a little bit more, just seniority, I guess, on the field. I really just want to understand how that defense is coming together. I don't know how much we'll see and, what they're allowed to do, but I think really defense is where I'll keep sort of my eyes on throughout the night. Or guys flying around. We're hearing a lot of clips this week from some of the new guys, Deshaun Pace, Ladarius Tennyson, talking about flying around, being aggressive, hitting. So I want to see if that, if that comes to fruition. We kind of know the offensive stuff, right? We know what Gus is going to run, but Ted Roof is a complete new commodity to us. Some of us don't even recognize him when we see him, Trace. So I'm curious to see what his defense looks like, and if there's any discernible difference, particularly in the spring game.
My sense is a lot of people are also looking for that first opportunity to see quarterback KJ Jefferson in person. So I think folks are looking forward to that as well. He, of course, much talked about the Arkansas transfer. While it said he fits well into Gus's offense, it is a change of pace for Night Nation, having seen John Rice Plumlee over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, again, some unknowns there too, right? I mean, he fits all the prototypes that you would think would flourish in a Gus Malzahn offense. He's got the size, he's got the strength. He's got a little bit of speed. He can certainly run the football. Feels like he's got a big arm there, so he checks all the boxes, right? If you're going through a checklist of stuff that you would say this is what this person needs, KJ checks all those boxes. How much they're going to unleash him, how much they're going to show. Like I don't think I'm breaking news tonight on the Sons of UCF when I tell you that he's QB1. So I don't know how much they need to see of him. It's probably more of like, let's see more of Dylan Risk, Timmy McClain, Riley Trujillo. Let's see how those guys integrate. So I'm not even sure how much we'll see KJ, and I don't know how much we need to, because I think you kind of understand where he's at. It's probably the 2, 3, 4 slots that are going to be more interesting as you think about the quarterback play tomorrow night.
So that's what the first half will look like. And the second half is the skills competition that features the fun aspects: fastest man, strongest arm, O-line versus D-line, catching punts. We heard some players talking about having an opportunity to do that. And of course, the Knights versus not race. A lot of the Kingdom NIL donors having opportunity to maybe call some plays or participate in other ways in this as well. We mentioned head coach Gus Malzahn. We saw him earlier at the Varsity Knights golf tournament, and I asked him, any surprises? What do you got for us, coach? Give us a little teaser. Tell us something about this spring game or the skills competition you're most looking forward to
I think
seeing.
it's going to be fun for the fans. Is what I think. I think they're going to really enjoy it. I know our players are ready to get out in front of them, so it'll be a good night.
So, little teaser there from Coach Malzahn. Hey, it was a little windy out there at the Eagle
It's a bit
Creek
windy,
Golf
but
Club.
that polo Gus had on, A plus. That's a great polo that he had on there. That's it.
You mentioned speaking to some of the newcomers. What's been great during this spring camp is Coach Malzahn has opened up the media to more opportunities to talk with players, and we've spoke with some of the transfers this week, including running back Miles Montgomery, the Cincinnati transfer, who says this whole spring game thing kind of new to him after his time with the Bearcats.
I've never really had an actual spring game. Cincinnati, it's just like a scrimmage. Some people come out or whatever, but it's gonna be good. I've never experienced something like this, so I'm ready. I'm eager. I can't wait to go out there and see everything, really.
So it's funny, right? We get used to our traditions and things that we do, and it was interesting to hear from him. Hey, we don't do anything like this at Cincinnati.
Not surprising. It's Cincinnati. What do you expect, right? But again, I think it is a unique, atmosphere that UCF is trying to create. Whether you love it or you hate it, I mean, they do some really creative, unique things in the spring game. They try to get people involved. They try to get interaction, make a little bit of fun, right? So it's not just a glorified practice. So you tip your cap to some of the things they're trying to accomplish. And I'm not surprised Cincinnati doesn't have any fun. Doesn't look like a place that's a whole lot of fun in general, right? That chili isn't even really chili. That can't be fun.
Of course, the other thing, being talked about is, UCF unveiling helmet decals that they're working with Orlando and Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital in Orlando on that. And you got to like that. They're always innovating, creating, and a new surprise this year.
Yeah, look, every year somehow you can't you can't imagine how they're going to top what they did, and they come up with something, and it's unique, it's creative, and this year it kind of tugs at the heartstrings a little bit, talks a little bit about the community and what some of the players do in the community and the work that they do as well, and it shows a strong bond integration, and I think for a lot of people, the concept touches close to home. I think a lot of people can relate to some of the things that are happening and some of the issues that are kind of behind what it is they were working with there. So it's every year you're like, how are they going to do this next year? QR codes. What are they going to do now? And every year they come up with something, and you got to tip your cap to that brand team for how they continue to raise the bar and find something unique and creative.
Well, you noticed in the photo released by UCF showing some of the players interacting with the kids at the Children's Hospital, defensive tackle Lee Hunter, big, strong guy, can be somewhat intimidating when he's up at that podium. He's glared at me a time or two for a question, but he's a softie at heart, right? And he talked about, being alongside the kids, coloring on those logos and how much it impacted him.
For me, it was good seeing it. Never got experience to see something like that. For me, it made me even get closer to my baby girl because the young kids got families that love them. So for me, it made me just get even more closer to my daughter. So that's how it touched me.
Yeah, see, that's nice. That's nice. And that's UCF has hit on this theme just in the right timing.
Yeah, again, it's you tip your cap to to what they come up with, and it's awesome to see some of the opportunities that they find. And again, I love that this one's a community effort, right? I mean, some of the things they've done have been cool and creative, but it's been really kind of centric to UCF, and now adding the community element to it, adding the element of giving back, I think just makes this even more cool, more exciting.
Well, we've seen some photos. We're going to get to see it up close and in person on Friday night at 7 in the Bounce House. Let's talk to the guy who's part of the team that's behind this idea. He is Alex Cesarano, Associate Athletics Director, Brand Experience at UCF, joins us now. Welcome into Sons of UCF Live, Alex.
What's up, guys? And first off, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to talk about this and everything you guys do for us and everything you guys cover. It's fantastic. I guess in old school radio, it says a long time listener, first time caller, right?
There we go. I like that. Alex, how gratifying is it to have something so well received across not only Knight Nation, but of course it's yet another thing that UCF does that goes viral, that is being talked about across the college football landscape?
Yeah. From a personal perspective, I think it's one of the reasons I got into athletics and sports in general. I think using sports as a vehicle to cast a broader net and create an opportunity for others that, may not really ordinarily be there is cool. And, it's probably one of the more gratifying things I've done in my career, and it probably will be. So if we can continue to build on it, I think that would be awesome. But it was really a team of people. I played a very small role in this, just trying to get from point A to point B. I mean, Jimmy Scales probably threw the idea out, but from Jimmy to Brad Anderson, our equipment manager, to Mason Mitchell on the partnership with Orlando Health, to Justin writing the story, it is fantastic. And finally seeing them in person, it is really, really cool. Really cool.
Take us behind the scenes. How long has this been in the making? When did the idea first come to be? We see it this week, but no doubt you guys have been working on this for a while.
Well, so, I mean, you guys talked a little about how we do our spring games here, a little different, right? So 2 years ago, we did 3 years ago, we did the hashtags on the back, the Twitter handles, QR codes, the skills challenges. All that was in the works for this year. And we've met kind of weekly on the spring game from about end of January to now. And truth be told, this idea kind of came up like maybe 3 weeks ago. So it was kind of like, we should do this. And then the timeline was really tight. I mean, really printing those out this week, putting them on helmets. So an old term from like 2017, 2018, UCF Fast. This was like a UCF Fast like promotion. So I would love a little more lead time on it, but this one was quick. But I mean, like all the people I just mentioned and some, we all jumped on board, even the players and the coaches getting out to the hospital. I mean, it was a quick turnaround, but well worth it.
Alex, you talked about some of the creative things that you all have done. How much like pressure do you feel every year to kind of top yourselves or come up with that next idea? Like that's got to be tough to think about, right? Like you come up with something great and now you're like, now how do I top that? How much pressure do you and your staff feel to come up with that next thing?
I don't know if it's pressure really, and kind of using this, like there's real pressure in this world. Like we're having fun. So pressure or fun, whatever. I mean, for us, it's, yeah, how do we want to top it? Because we're all competitive at the end of the day. But yeah, I think in the room, like you've got to talk, Eric DeSalvo and his crew, like all those people in the room, Julian Wright, we just figure out a way to top it every year. And frankly, I didn't know if we would do it this year, but I think we did something a little bit different and probably even better than the years prior. And then what we do next year, I don't know yet. We haven't even really talked about it. So we're going to get through tomorrow night and then start thinking about the next season and then spring game.
So peel back the curtain a little bit for fans that are going to come out in the bounce house tomorrow night, see the spring game. Can you give us any nuggets of anything to expect? Can you give us any Easter eggs of what fans may entertain if they're there at the bounce house tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different, right? I don't know what your favorite iteration of our spring game was, but the skills challenges are really cool. I got to say we're kind of rinse and repeat a little bit on that, but I think the knight versus the knot and who could participate as the knot, I won't tell you who it is, but I think that'd be kind of cool. Or really, honestly, if anybody wants to buy into it, the Kingdom is selling an opportunity to race. So, I mean, it's up for grabs. I mean, if either one of you want to do it, we can arrange that if you'd like.
Adam's the guy with speed.
I've got a hamstring issue. Maybe next year, Alex. Maybe next year.
When you approached Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital, what did they say in the forming of the idea and how they could involve the kids in what you were proposing?
Yeah, so I didn't talk to them directly, but Mason Mitchell, who kind of heads our relationship there, I mean, look, we've been working with them for a while, and I think this is one of those, just another opportunity that they know how we work, we know how they work, and they were super receptive. Obviously, a little red tape with kids and making sure we get the right things done and making sure everybody's good with it. But working with them is so smooth. I mean, we do stuff with them in the space game, so these are kind of one of those where like, hey, we want to bring some players out. We want to do this. This is the idea. And they're like, absolutely. Let's just make sure we can get it done. Let's make sure everybody's available. And really within 24, 48 hours, we were, all right, players are going out. We're doing this. It's really, that partnership with them is fantastic.
We just played a soundbite from defensive tackle Lee Hunter. I mean, a huge guy especially when he's up at that podium, and no doubt when you're facing him on the football field. But he's right in there, mixing it up with the kids and coloring and showing his kid at heart as well. And you heard players say how special this was that they were asked to participate.
Yeah, Lee, like many other student athletes, we have great kids, within UCF, and this is just a little bit of what they do in their community service throughout the year, and the places they go, and the lives they touch. So really an awesome opportunity to work with Lee in football, kind of on a daily and yearly basis, and they do a great job. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, kind of taking it a step further, I don't know if you're familiar with Nithon. That's the university-led student philanthropy, kind of in the same frame with like Miracle Network. We took some guys out to that. They do a dance marathon, met with the kids. So it's just they're constantly doing these kind of things, and it's fantastic.
Alex, I got to imagine when you saw some of the commentary on social media, you guys had to feel both proud and excited about sort of the buzz that, this release generated, right?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are we troll people and do a lot of different things, and there's always someone taking a side. And,
no.
I think this is the one thing where I read through the comments and the retweets and everything. It was like everything is positive. Like this is what we're supposed to do this for. This is what this platform is supposed to serve, and this is what we're supposed to do. And that was really cool that everybody became unified. I'm like, this is great. Like even I think I saw a comment from like Oklahoma State. It's like, we don't like you, but how can we not like you? It's like great. I think that hopefully more teams do it. I mean, I think it's cool. I know SMU did something. I think a few years back, Nebraska's done. I mean, a ton of teams have done these things, but to highlight them is important too.
Well, I know you got a big game tomorrow, so you probably got a lot on your plate, but any thought about making these decals available to alumni, to students? Any thought about sort of getting these out to the masses if folks want to get a chance to have some of their own?
Yeah, certainly. So still working through that a little bit of red tape to go through, but we're looking at some things. Hopefully they come through. Hopefully it doesn't fall through. But yeah, certainly whether we do decals or some form of merchandise or on T-shirts, we want to make sure it's buttoned up and it's done correctly and it goes back to where it needs to go back to.
Your title includes the words brand experience. Explain more about what a day in the life is like for you as part of the UCF athletics team.
I mean, you want a game week or a non-game week? It's kind of, this is kind of a
either
game
or both is fine. Just what does it? I mean, brand is so important to UCF, and it's interesting to learn more about what you do.
Yeah. So within brand advancement, Eric DeSalvo, he does the hashtag content, so all the social. Justin Wilson does the strategic communication. Brand experience is really everything. That is front facing from like in real life perspective. So game day, some of these types of community efforts. So a kind of day in a life, especially this week. This week's kind of weird because we're playing on Friday, this and that. But just we haven't played a game in a few months, so getting the stadium, helping facilities get the stadium prepared, rehearsals, walkthroughs, like everything that you guys see on the video board. That's not, I guess, for a real game or a non-spring game is scripted. I mean, we're planning and plotting that all out, and everything. I mean, every scenario, we're kind of playing the game within the game. This one's kind of more fun because it's 2 quarters of football. It's really simple. We're playing music, and then we get to do the skills challenges, which are really cool. But for a normal game, I mean, we rehearse, we script, we ideate, we do all that because at the end of the day, I mean. And you guys know this just as well as I do. We don't want to continue to do the same thing. We want to build it bigger. So I guess going back to the question about pressure, I feel more pressure to do something different every game and keep it fresh because our fans deserve that.
How do you strike the balance between Knights and Citronauts when you're having these meetings and these conversations and the debate that goes on amongst fans in Knight Nation? What's the balance there? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, let me ask you a question. Which side are you guys on? I'd like to hear that.
I'm well outspoken. Once a night, always a night.
Okay.
Knights. I can deal with the Citronauts one-offs once a year. I think there are some times where we go a little overboard. I'm reminded of Citronaut Saturdays for baseball. I think it was a little overkill. So I don't mind it from time to time. And I'm black and gold charged through the line. It's hard for me to buy into the blue, but I do like the space aspect as it's been introduced at UCF.
Well, if you ask my 3-year-old who's very much into rockets and space, he'd say Knots. Where I strike the balance, I think it's 2 brands. I mean, we're running two straight lines and the brands work. I mean, as you know, you're on the one side, but there's for every one of you, Trace, there's one of the knots. So the Citronauts.
It's
So
1-to-1. Is
yeah.
this what you're saying? It's one.
I mean,
I got my work to do
internally,
here.
externally. I think it's kind of cool to. This is me talking on this personally. I think it's kind of cool to as a marketer to do something different for a week or two, especially with space. And it's so cool, like to use the blue and stuff. But in terms of balance, I mean, the UCF brand is the umbrella, right? It's all falls under there. Obviously, we're the Knights. That's not changing. But I think to embrace Space U really and the Citronauts with that, you see it a little more, in our branding and stadium and around, and obviously space games. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to two brands, and they both work. Obviously, we're the Knights first, but there's a whole faction of Knight Nation or Not Nation that would say opposite. So, but we try to balance it pretty well. I mean, it's tough at times, but this is an opportunity, spring game, where you can do that, and it's fun. It's fun.
All right, Alex, take me behind the scenes a little bit. I mean, you mentioned earlier UCF not afraid to push the umbrella a little bit, right? Not afraid to go after some folks, do a little trolling, and I'm sure there's a lot of ideas. What's the one idea that's come across your desk? You said, okay, that's too much. That's a bridge too far for me. That's one we can't do. What's the crazy idea that you had to pass up? Because again, there's a lot of crazy things you all do. So I'd love to see the outtakes or the things that didn't quite make it into the program.
Well, there's not a lot of ideas that we say no to. Let's start there. I won't say names, but this is pre-COVID. So we were talking about how to spice up like something, and someone's like, yeah, let's shoot someone out of a cannon over the stadium or have them tightrope over the stadium during the game. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like that's going to be tough. Like I would love to do it, but I don't know if we're going to get past like emergency management on that. I don't think they're going to
risk management. People
I don't know any of it. I don't think any of it's going to fly. That was really out of the box, but we kind of considered it for a moment. We're like, no, we can't make it work.
All right, there's a lot of important questions around Knight Nation, right? How's the quarterback going to look? Who's going to be the kicker? What's the game going to look like? But I need you. I assume you have purview over the most important question. It seems as though the Frankie Valli song has been retired. So A, can you confirm that Frankie Valli is or is not going to be played anymore? And B, do you have a lead on the replacement? What may maybe take Frankie's place in the playlist?
This is a trap question, right?
It probably is.
Well, yeah, it's been retired, as you know. I know Frankie Valli was playing down at the Kia Center, Dr. Phillips, a couple weeks ago, so he's very much doing his thing.
Shout out to Frankie. I apologize.
Yeah,
yes.
We thought about having him do Knight's Oath or something, and it just didn't line up or whatever. So, no, I mean, I think we got some ideas for the next song. We do. We think it'll work, but we also wanted to happen organically. We don't, anything that we've really ever done that works. It works because it's our fans embrace it. So, we're not going to be afraid to try some things, and if it sticks, but I want to keep that. Like we're in April. I want to make sure that's good for fall, and that way you guys come to games and try to figure out what that is.
Were you surprised that? I mean, Frankie Valli, it's one song. Were you surprised at kind of the backlash it got, or do you want that sort of chatter as you think about marketing and brand experience? Do you want that kind of back and forth between the fan base? Yeah,
I think well, any type of chatter tells people that they care about the brand, being good or bad in certain aspects. Frankly, no pun intended. If we would have been all for it, I'm in. I mean, I have no ill will against Frankie Valli. I kind of got tired of the song because we played it a lot internally, but that's just personally. But
it's just being played throughout the halls, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, and frankly, the students kind of liked it. In all the videos I saw, they were so. And I know there was at one time is it in the EA Sports stuff? It is not. I can confirm that. And all that stuff. So we're still trying to figure out what's next. But that's a touchy subject. I don't want to go too far down because I feel like that's like Knights versus Knots, like extra, right? Exponential. Like I don't want to like make anybody mad.
All right, let's wrap up with this one. As we talk on Thursday, April 11th, is everything buttoned up on the space game? Is that the lead time that you need? Is the idea already put together and you all know what you're going to do?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot goes into it, as you know, uniforms, the game itself, the auction. I wouldn't say it's totally buttoned up. I don't want to ever say it's buttoned up till we have the uniforms in hand, and that's the most important thing. We have the date,
but the order's been placed.
The order, yes. We're well ahead of where we need to be, but I guess on the athletics line of work, I don't want to say it's done till it's done. We're in a good spot. It'll be good. I think we're in November for that game, so it's a little more time, but we're well ahead of what we need to be, and it's going to be awesome. I mean, its base game is awesome.
All right, now just between us, what can you tell us about it? Just
yeah,
nobody's watching. Just
yeah,
just three guys chatting. Us three and Frankie Valley. That's it.
Yeah. So the game will be played against University of Arizona. They'll wear their colors, and we'll wear our colors with numbers. We'll do the whole thing.
Okay.
There will be blue in and around the stadium, sure, as we always do. No, you guys got to, I love when the fans start drawing their own stuff and doing trying to figure it out, because sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, but it's cool to get people talking about it. So,
have you ever seen a fan rendition where you go, "Hey, that's actually not so bad. We should maybe figure out how to incorporate that"?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
definitely. I would tell you a peek behind the curtain. The lights up, lights down promotion we do at football, what came from an alum, actually. And I'm like, we can make this work.
So should Trace and I come up with something and just pitch it to you? Are you free next week? We'll get a meeting on the calendar. We'll just
ideas come from anywhere. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
I'd like to just note that your shirt has Knights on it.
Yeah. Well, I had a situation here, and I was like, should I do that? But then that's mixing the brands a little bit, and honestly, this is a shirt I wore today, so I wasn't going to change. But
nor should you. Yes.
Yeah.
Alex, we appreciate you dropping by, sharing some of what you do, and again, congratulations to you and the team for putting together another idea that is, out of this ballpark. You had a home run with it.
Appreciate it, and thank you guys again for all your support. I know you guys got a hole at the Varsity Knights golf tournament. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this, but today is Giving Tuesday. So if there's an opportunity for anybody listening to give back to the university, we would certainly appreciate any amount, any gift. It's all good.
That plug is well accepted around here. Alex, appreciate you. Thanks so much for being with us on Sons of UCF Live. We'll see you out at the Bounce House for the spring game.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. All right, I tried, Adam. I tried to get a.
Look, I tried to get the Frankie Valley replacement. Alex he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. I mean, it's not his first radio, clearly. I mean, so he was ready. I'm concerned. He looks like he's at the office still. It's 8:30. Let's get Alex some sleep. Let's let him rest up a little bit. Like, these guys work a little bit too much for my liking. So Alex is still in the chat here.
Though.
I need Alex to get some rest. Go grab a burger or something. Like, get home and enjoy some time. Put his feet up a little bit. Nothing going on.
We were talking today at the Varsity Knights golf tournament, Knights and Knots. It's a question we asked. You'll see more of the responses when we release videos here over the next couple of weeks on sonsofUCF.com, at the YouTube channel as well. And you've got one. We asked a guy we may recognize.
Surprising answer here. I think this is a surprising answer. I think this is a hot take answer. I was not expecting this answer. Again, to backdrop this, a lot of the individuals there they're veteran players. They played in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I was not expecting this answer, Trey. So this video surprised me just a little bit.
I'm a Citronaut guy, but I think it's out of jealousy of the fact that we never got to wear those jerseys, or I don't think maybe even say the word Citronaut. That wasn't a big GOL thing. We were Knights in the old school white and gold, and it was a big deal when we got to wear those ugly black helmets against USF. So the cool jerseys and the alternate mascots and everything they got going on right now is pretty cool.
Blake, confirmed Citronaut guy, confirmed on video.
I like how he tells us what we already knew, that George O'Leary would never have allowed all of this to have occurred.
That's also fair. Also very fair.
Program. Again, a little windy out there, but it was good talking to say, Blake, pretty good golfer, right? You know the game of golf well, and he knows what he's doing.
There's some good swings out there. I will say the foursome that probably had some of the best golf play, Trace, was that foursome was Blake Bortles, Joey Grant, former offensive lineman for UCF, Gabe Davis, now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Coach Malzahn. We saw them hit a little bit. They hit pretty well off the tee. Blake and Gabe both have really smooth, sweet swings, both left-handed swings, which is odd. Obviously, Blake a righty throwing the football, but a lefty golf swing. So a lot of smooth sailing. We also saw a couple water balls. One ball that went 3 feet, 4 feet tops, and a roof shingle that may or may not be broken. So you saw the spectrum, but Blake and Gabe and Coach Malzahn and Joey Grant, they're the real deal. There's some good players out there.
Well, we're going to continue our spring game preview coverage for the man we saw out at that golf tournament today. He is former longtime UCF assistant coach Paul Olsbury. Coach, hello.
And just to be clear, he did not hit the roof. That was not Coach Olsbury. No roofs were harmed. Yes.
I've done that before, but we had a lot of fun out there today. It was great seeing both of you out there too.
I got to tell you, you may have had the record there for perhaps the slowest group because you had Manny Messinger, and that guy can tell stories, many of which we can't really honestly repeat here. It names, but it's a little colorful. But that man's got some stories. He knows everybody forever.
Yes, he does, and he's a great friend and a very loyal UCF man, and the players, all the former players love him. I mean, he's like a father figure to a lot of them. So, but it's great hanging out with him. He was in my foursome along with my son and Hall of Fame kicker Franco Grillo. So we had a great time, and it was great seeing all the guys out there. That's why I go to that 31 foursomes, all the old players, so many of them are there. And it was a lot of fun. And then we had a nice meal afterwards and had time to sit down and talk and stay out of the rain, and it was great.
Multiple generations too, and that's nice when these guys are sharing stories from their eras of play, and you get a sense just of how far UCF has come in such a short period of time when you're around these guys.
You're absolutely right, and I was fortunate enough to be there for long enough to kind of connect two of those generations, but it was, you're absolutely right. It's great bunch of people.
I've been peppered with some questions asked to direct your way, since you're a person out at practice and all the time as much as you can. One question asked about left tackle. How are you seeing that develop? What do you think the rotation is at left tackle is one of the questions I got.
Well, Amari Kite is going to be the starter at left tackle unless he gets hurt. Keyshawn is a redshirt freshman. He's coming along and doing really nice job. But I think it's going to be Amari starting, and at the right tackle will be Paul Rubelt. You always have Marcellus is playing guard right now, but he's also able to play tackle. So you have some flexibility there. Wes Dorsey came in as a backup. Right now he's a backup, and he'll help us with depth there too. So I think those are the guys you'll see in the rotation. But for right now, Amari Kite and Paul Rubelt are the starters at tackle.
Coach, the night before the spring game, if you're Coach Gus Malzahn and you're kind of looking at your checklist, what are your goals for tomorrow night? What do you want to accomplish in this spring game?
Number one, you don't want to get anybody hurt. I mean, they've seen enough now through the spring that that's probably the number one thing, is don't want anybody seriously hurt. The other thing is maybe take another look at some of the younger guys with a little more extensiveness. Guys that they know, like RJ and some of those guys, they don't need to see them a lot. So I think younger guys will get a chance a little bit for that half, and yet I say that, and you still want to get KJ some work with the guys that are going to be the first team guys. So it's kind of a mix, but I think the number one priority is don't get anybody hurt in this game.
All right, Coach, if you're a player tonight, going back to your room, going to bed, getting up tomorrow, what are your goals as a player for the spring game?
I think it's like last Saturday scrimmage. You want to put things on film that lift you up in the eyes of the coaches and in the eyes of the other players. You want to put some positive things on film, and I think that has them that's where your focus has to be. And I think it has a lot of them focused that way. I think that's going to be an important thing. Even if it's not 50 snaps, if you can get 20 good snaps in and show that you can play on those 20 snaps and maybe not have too many critical errors, I think that would be a huge thing.
Couple more for you in my inbox, asking, how do you think the defensive ends and edge rushers looked throughout camp?
I think they look great. They're getting better all the time, and there's a multitude of guys that can play those positions too. But I think I think they're all having a great spring. I don't know exactly who's going to be the guys that start right now. You're going to have on defensive line, you have to have 2 full units and rotate them because they have to. The pace that they have to play at is pretty high. So I don't know exactly who's going to be the starters right now, but I think there's plenty of guys that can step in and help. Now we don't need to have any injuries there, but I really think that the defensive line in general is playing really well, and Lee and Ricky being healthy right now makes a big difference too. Those guys are beasts in there.
You sat in on the media session earlier this week, and you know the rotation here. You get Coach Harris, and all the questions are about offense, and you get Coach Roof, and all those questions are about defense. Get Coach Malzahn, and it's all over the place. And a question, an area that we don't talk a great deal about is special teams, and that's something I've been asked about as well. And we don't get to see it in practice. And I don't know how much we're going to see during the spring game. What are you seeing on the kickoff and punt return units?
Well, the kickoff and punt return guys, Johnny Richardson's going to be one, of course, but the true freshman, Lydell Richardson, is going to be returning punts some, and of course Xavier Townsend. Those guys are going to be the guys. So Richardson, that was kind of important to see him back there because that tells me he's going to be playing a lot, at receiver too. So, and he's a talented kid. He doesn't look like a freshman, I'll tell you that. So I think those guys are the guys that are going to be handling most of the returning chores. Obviously, I think our punting is in great shape with Mitch, and it's been a great spring of contests between Colton Boomer and Grant Reddick too. So, and I think that's continuing. We may see both of them in the spring game too.
Coach, on both sides of the ball, how much of the playbook is open? How many plays are you running on offense? How many sort of formations or sets are you running on defense in this game?
I think defensively, because of the aggressiveness of Ted Roof and what they want to do defensively, you're going to see a fairly wide open playbook on defense. I think you're going to see a lot of twists. You're going to see a lot of movement. You're going to see a lot of blitzes. Offensively, I don't really know for sure how much they want to put on the quarterbacks right now. So it may be a little restricted. And when you get into the fall, you have to understand too, everything is so much game planned that really right now, both offense and defense are still very basic overall views. And then once you get into the season, you get a lot more specific and a lot more specialized in the game plan about what you're running. So it's still pretty generic, but I think you'll see more probably from the defense than you will from the offense as far as variety.
Yeah. Do you know if the quarterbacks will be live, Coach? And what are the pros and cons of having your quarterbacks live in a sort of a scrimmage or a spring game?
Well, obviously, getting somebody injured accidentally is the biggest issue, and that can happen probably easiest to a quarterback than anybody if they're live. So I don't think you'll see KJ live. You might. The other guys have been live in the other scrimmages, so you may see them live. But I think they're trying to protect KJ still, and he's got a lot to learn yet as far as the offense and the terminology and the plays. I think he's done a great job of progressing, but they may try to keep him from getting live contact just to help him so he doesn't have to think about that in addition to all the new stuff he's having to process.
Is there like a gentleman's agreement that, like, even if the quarterback is live, like, you're not going to try to blow him up, or you're not going to try to really, is there like a teammate agreement that, like, hey, yeah, you're live, I'm going to tackle you, but
no,
try to keep it clean?
No,
Oh,
No,
wow.
if they're live, they're live. And those defensive guys get hungry, so they like to go eat, you know. So if they're going to protect him, they'll put him in the gray jerseys.
Got a mailbag question that I want to direct to you at McGuckin_M6 asks Coach if his defensive line depth chart guess is correct. This is who he's got: Edge, Caven Call, and Malachi Lawrence.
I think both of those guys are going to be in the rotation. Yeah, there's two of the. They're probably going to be 5 guys out there on the edges.
Defensive line: Lee Hunter, Ricky Barber.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. Linebacker: Ethan Barr, Deshaun Pace.
Those are the 2 starters, I think, right now.
Nickel: Ladarius Tennyson.
Yes, very impressive.
Cornerbacks: Brandon Adams and William Wells.
I think Brandon Adams and William Wells will play a lot, but I've been really impressed with the true freshman, Chasen Johnson from Seminole. He has played very well this spring, and you may see him with the ones.
Safety: Nakai Martinez and Damari Henderson.
Yeah, I think those are the guys. Yep. That's pretty accurate.
Pretty good. That'll be received by our person who sent that one in.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He must have been a practice. He must have been a practice.
You've heard Ted Roof say, there's a difference between effort and strain. He's been talking a lot about that, and it's been asked of the players, and they sort of smile. They recognize that message. How do you think that's being received? What are you seeing in practice and in these scrimmages that show you it's being well received?
I think it's being very, very well received. Yeah. I think it's being very well received. The players are really very focused and positive responses. One of the things that Ted and I talked about the other day at practice was, the players have to understand that they have to sacrifice in order to succeed. And that sacrifice is a daily sacrifice. It's you have to strain and play hard all the time, and you have to keep paying that price every day. It's not something you pay once and you got to do it every day. So I like that approach. I think that's an old school grind them out approach that I think is really healthy for our football team mentally, as well as getting them in the frame of mind to attack. And I think that's what you're going to see from our defense.
Coach, I can't help but notice you kind of lit up when Trey said Ladarius Tennyson. What have you seen in him? What do you like about what you've seen so far?
The guy makes plays. He's fast. He makes plays. He's a good tackler. I like everything I've seen about Ladarius. I'm just glad he decided to come back home.
So, Coach, what happens after the spring game, right? So we have spring game, spring practice comes to an end. As coaches, what happens next? Do you sit down and do you evaluate and sort of reorder your depth chart? Do you meet with your players? Take us behind the scenes. I know all the fun and the hoopla and all the QR codes and all the punt returns are done. What happens afterwards after all this is over?
Well, first of all, every player will have a spring exit interview with their position coach, and most of them with Coach Malzahn as well. So they'll have chances to interact with their coach and with Coach Malzahn about what their performance was like in the spring and where they are in relationship to their playing time and what they can expect and what they need to improve on. There is a period where they've got to prepare for the final exams and the end of the semester, and they'll have some time to do that. But then this is a critical off-season strength and conditioning period too. So they'll be into that pretty quickly as well. And Coach Kinsey, the strength coach, and his staff will have them working all through the summer and really training to be ready in the fall physically. So it's all of those things. And it's a pretty busy time. And then there's still a couple of the portal opens up again, so there's still a chance to get a couple more players in, and I think you'll see possibly a few players come to UCF in this latest portal.
Which means you lose a few players, and I imagine coaches just don't want to be surprised by those names.
I think you could lose some. I think they have a pretty good idea right now of who they might lose, and if they don't want to lose them, they'll make some kind of plan to keep them. But yeah, I think you could lose a couple too, but I don't think we'll be losing anybody that's planning on getting a lot of playing time. I think those guys are pretty well set and they want to be here.
Back to the golf tournament before we let you go. How many times do you think you laughed today at something Manny said?
I laughed 100 times on every hole, and you know, the fortunate thing is I didn't hurt anybody else, and I didn't even hurt myself other than my pride. But that's been gone for a long time. So we had just a fantastic time. As you said, Manny tells stories so much, and my son and Franco there, and all the other guys. We had some holdups on some holes, so we had a chance to sit and talk with a bunch of guys, you know, in other groups too. So, and then afterwards at the dinner, it was great. We just had a great time. I had a great conversation with Dante and a lot of other players too. A lot of the players that I coached and got to recruit, and it was just, I had a great time and I was smiling the whole time.
I'm sure Manny repeats stories like we all do, but that guy could tell you a new story every day and not repeat for a very long time.
He's got a lot of them, and he knows where all the skeletons are buried too.
That is true. That is true. So, Coach, we appreciate you being with us, giving us this spring game primer, and hopefully you'll be back with us to recap and put a bow on it.
Well, Trace and Adam, you guys are professionals and you do a fantastic job, and I mean that sincerely. You're a credit to UCF and to what you're doing, and thank you for doing that. And it helps UCF be a big-time program. It really does.
Adam, the check is in the mail, or the Venmo, or whatever needs to happen with Coach.
All right.
Those kind words.
I'm
Coach,
serious.
Thank you.
I'm serious. You guys do a great job, and I do appreciate it. And I did wear the hat all day today.
Yes, you did. Yes. No, you did. That's
wear
how we
it
saw
well.
you, Coach. That's how we knew you. I was like, there's a Suns man right there. And of course, Coach Lounsbury. Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. Manny, that guy.
Should we just end the show now,
You
Trey?
had him on the
we should
podcast, right?
I have. Should we just end the show now? I feel like that we can't top it. We should just, everybody, thanks. It's been a good run. We'll see you around. Yes, I have had Manny on the show. Episode.
It's time to bring him back.
I want to say it's in the 70s, somewhere in that ballpark. We're in 256 for context. Yeah, man. Like he, again,
slap a parental warning.
I'm going to need to hit the dump button to get some of those stories out. But I don't want to give too much away, but he was telling a story and you turned the corner and did not hear the first part and walked in mid-story. And I can only imagine your thought process as you heard the point of which you picked up that story.
But I was hooked on that story.
Well, you can't. Once you hear what it's about, you can't leave. You have to understand how that ends.
But folks, sorry, it's not kind of us to talk about something we can't share with you, but then we can.
Yes, that's just not going to work.
No. All right, time for some news and notes.
My name is Shannon Doherty. Let's go around the kingdom.
Yeah, Shannon with a big home run. First, some football news. Fewer than 400 season tickets remain. Knights announcing. Got a couple months to go. You feel good about that, getting scooped up before season start. 17th ranked baseball falls to 21-9. Lost at Stetson 5-3 on Wednesday night. I went up to DeLand to watch that one. Knights jumped out early, let the lead get away. Now they hit the road. They're already in Morgantown, West Virginia, practicing. Let's hear from head coach Rich Wallace on what to expect from West Virginia, which is atop those Big 12 standings with an 8-4 record tied with Oklahoma.
Very talented team. Offense is and they run, they have power. It's going to be a tough task. And they play good defense, and I mean, it's a typical team that's leading the Big 12. So we got our work cut out for us.
That they do. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6:34 and 1. All games on ESPN Plus. Knights return home Wednesday when they host North Florida. How about Michael? Emptiness. Another spot-on article already up on sonsofUCF.com. Really gives you the breakdown on what you need to know about West Virginia going into the weekend series. You saw Shannon Doherty. Softball wins. They're now 22-15 overall. They swept BYU in the most recent series of Big 12 play to move them to 7-8. This one was a no-hitter. I saw the score 9-1. I didn't think that's what it was, but a combined no-hitter, the second time that's happened, 23rd time overall in program history. And it was also Autism Awareness Night. The experience there for head coach Cindy Ball Malone with her son on the spectrum. She's talked about throughout this how grateful she is for the support of Knight Nation and helping her and others raise awareness about autism.
It just speaks to not only the cause of the awareness and the acceptance, and I keep talking about the inclusion, but how Knight Nation is so welcoming to everyone that's in our community, and the support that we have, and just how happy they were to celebrate.
Yeah, they were. Knights are on the road at Houston Friday, Saturday, Sunday games at 7, 3, and 1 before returning home Wednesday against Florida Atlantic. Thank you, Eric Lopez, the voice of UCF softball, for sending me the video clip from the game on Wednesday night. Mentioning Eric Lopez, I never know what clip you're going to pull. Is this where my math was wrong, or what clip are we?
I thought so. I try not to be controversial in these clips, but Eric Lopez came out with a scorching hot take that I can't not bring back to the audience. So if you're near some sort of a fire, I mean, step back, because this thing is hot.
I don't think any spring football game should be streamed. I think anytime a spring football game is broadcasted, it makes the world a dumber place. It really does. It is one of the most. You don't learn anything from that. Here's an idea. There's plenty
of glorified practice.
It's a glorified play. You're not going to learn anything. You're not going to learn anything. Now, if you want to say it's a PR from a PR standpoint, from a marketing, maybe I'll hear that argument. But you're not going to learn a damn thing in that spring game that that's going to come back and say, I remember in September, and I remember back when I watched that spring game. That's when this season turned around. No, they're not going to show you anything.
You're wrong, Eric Lopez. But join the Sons of UCF next week for a complete breakdown of the spring game. And Andrew Cherico and I will
very anti-spring game. Wow, I didn't have that coming as a hot take.
Andrew Cherico and I will be at the spring game in the press box. Cherico tweeting away all the latest for those of you who will not be able to watch the live stream. Before we get to that time again, it is that time to wrap up our look back at the 2023 season, which of course ended in that Gasparilla Bowl loss. Clay Pasco has that for us in Clay's Corner.
Versus Georgia Tech in the 2023 Gasparilla Bowl. The Knights start off strong and go on the board early with this terrific throw and terrific catch by Javon Baker to go up 7. Say what you want about this game, but the lights were awesome, if you were there, of course. And just another hell of a catch for Javon. Man, I'm just so excited that he's coming back next year. Oh. Well, it was a fun 24 hours, I guess. Call it glazing if you want, but RJ, look at this. He makes something out of nothing. That pocket was closed. It was closed, and he does this. He's amazing. He's amazing.
And Plumlee going to keep it. Harvey took a huge lick. Plumlee going to put it up in the air, and Eford intercepts it.
It's all fine, though, because Kobe hauls it in for another 7. And then my sunshine, RJ Harvey, fumbles the ball. It wasn't his fault. This was a conspiracy, I think. Yellow Jackets get on the board with a field goal. Kobe hauls in this nice catch, and we end up getting just a field goal from this drive. I'm not going to show it, though, because Colton. Then the Yellow Jackets drive down the field and end up getting their first touchdown of the night right here. After a 3 and out, Tech gets the ball back, and Haynes King, I'm not even going to lie, delivers an absolute bomb. Tech then gets a field goal to go up by 3. Wow, look at that old man go. Good job, Alec. I'm proud of you. RJ Harvey, big boy run. 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 And one thing that I think is crazy that we don't talk about enough is how crazy this pick is that DeMar Anderson got. Look at this. Wait for the replay. Wait for the replay. Look at that. He, it rolls onto him. That's insane. That's a great pick. JRP is taken down for the final time ever, and Georgia Tech capitalizes on this by getting a touchdown. Georgia Tech scores one last final time. And the Jameis Winston Play of the Week goes yet again to Timmy McClain. Knights yet again fall short and lose the 2023 Gasparilla Bowl 30-17. Before I let you guys go, I just want to give one final thank you to Adam and Trace for giving me this opportunity to do Clay's Corner for you guys today. As of right now, they haven't given me a new assignment or haven't given me ideas for what I should do next. So I guess I'm a free agent as of right now. And if you want to contact Adam, you can find his address right here. You go up to his house, harass him. You can find Trace's right here. Trace is probably closer because I know, Adam's in Jacksonville. Trace, go to his house, wait outside, be like, we want more Clay's Corner, and hopefully, they'll let me do it again for you guys. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and go Knights, charge on.
Nailed the addresses.
These
Not gonna lie
these
to you.
random addresses.
Nailed the addresses. Yeah, nailed it. I gotta look that up. I have no idea what that is, and so I'm assuming it's not something like a tire store. I'm assuming there's scantily clad people. That's just a guess on my part.
Oh, goodness. All right. But we may see more of Clay. We've talked a little bit about maybe taking a look at the 2024 opponents on the schedule and maybe doing so in a way that doesn't get us a cease and desist order for using the
And
video.
or some sort of a stalking order. So people are now going to be at those particular addresses knocking on doors.
Thank you, Clay, for your humor and being part of Sons of UCF. All right, it's that time again.
Speaking of our sunshine, Trace.
So it's a mailbag. So what?
So what? Do you know whose mailbag that is?
It's that time again. Time to open the Brian W. Peterson Sons of UCF mailbag.
Oh, hell yeah.
Every week.
Debbie, who do you predict will be the breakout player in the spring game?
It's a tricky one. I'm going to go defense. Give me Deshaun Pace. Saw him at the podium. Maybe give me a little interception, a little pick six. I'm going to go Deshaun Pace.
Give me a wide receiver. How about Corey Gamage? The wide receiver we talk about. No?
He's not there anymore, Trace.
Oh, no. Who's the other guy?
Chauncey Magwood?
Chauncey Magwood.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You want to redo that one? We can redo that one. We'll do it live, Trace. We'll do it live.
That's who I meant.
There you go. No, we all know. Yeah, we all know.
Brain freeze. Love not worth.
To be fair though, if Corey Gamage had gotten a catch there, it would have been his first of the night, by the way. So yes, that'd be great.
Love not worth 311. Where have all the booms gone? Feeling famished for a boom sandwich. Maybe one drops on Friday. Maybe one during the game itself. That's something they like to do.
Oh wow! I don't know if you're breaking news here. Look, I think there's been a lot of high school talent on campus recently. You're probably in boom watch. This isn't boom warning, so it's kind of like hurricanes. You're in boom watch. Conditions are favorable for booms, but there's not a boom impending. So we may be in boom watch here post spring game.
At @blackgold_edit. Boomer was injured, as has been talked about. Why wasn't Grant Reddick kicking at the end of last season? It is a very good question, one not asked of head coach Gus Malzahn, but an interesting question. I am Rob 6719. Grant or Colton? How about both? I'm looking to see Grant Reddick, who talked to me after a little scrum session we had following his recent appearance, and he said he's been working on kickoffs. So maybe that's something we will see from Grant. All right, our friend JP Gilbert. He's stuck on this conspiracy. What happens first? We find out what really happened on November 22nd, 1963, or the quarterback head cam videos from 2022 and 2023 are released.
I don't think there were head cam videos in 22-23. I mean, we saw a lot of
technology did not exist, JP.
I saw a lot of pictures of JRP, and I just don't think we were rolling on that stuff back then. Yeah. So November 22nd it is.
Yeah, that Riley Carey.
Where was George Bush? Trace, it's an important question. People are asking.
People are not asking. At Riley Carey 16, do you think JRP should have chosen baseball career over football career? I think he's too old to really start making that climb up the rungs of minor league baseball.
Hard for me to say. Like, I'm not here to design the kid's life. I mean, he clearly wants to give football a shot. So would his path have been easier, one or the other? I mean, we may never know, but he has great numbers at the combine. I mean, there was a write-up by Dane Bugler that said that he's an intriguing potential free agent pickup option for a lot of teams. So, he may just, sneak onto a squad someplace. So I don't know. It's not fair for me to design the kid's life. I think probably baseball would have been easier, but I don't know. That's just my guess. Matt Dolan with an important update, by the way. Those are Waffle Houses. That's what you did there, Matt.
Well played.
Yeah.
Matt, is Matt hired to do research?
He should be, actually, because I need researchers here. So Matt Dolan, congrats. We already have a hat. I'll send you another hat. I don't know. I don't have any other hats, by the way.
That's Scott 88513. Do you think UCF baseball has a good chance of hosting a regional? There is a chance. 8-7 in the first half of the season. Now we're in the back half. Some favorable games. Going to be a tough one at West Virginia. I'm not sure that doubling that 16 and 14 gets you to host a regional, but I like their chances of making it into a regional. At Golden Knight _2, with so much money being poured into athletics now, what are the good investments and bad investments? He's calling it wasted money. You have seen UCF make. Let's start off with the good. Obviously, the decision those years back to put an on-campus football stadium, that whole athletics village, was money well spent to pave the way for where UCF is today.
I'll try the bad. I know you were struggling with this earlier to figure out what you would say there. I did come up with something, and this is a nitpicky item, but I would say a bad investment, maybe the uniform set these last couple seasons. We've heard that we're kind of in between, right? There was a contract thing with Nike. Are we going? Are we not going? So some people assume these were sort of like holdover uniforms. If that's the case, we could have just figured that out too. So I'll go uniforms on the football side, Trace, although I don't really have a ton of conviction for it. And I apologize to Christian Simmons in advance, as I'm sure I've just caused him to drive a car off a cliff.
It was a wasted $37.14 that they spent on the patch. Remember that failed.
I do.
Failed
Keith Tribble.
campaign.
Shout out to Keith Tribble. Yeah.
Yeah. You got a big box of those from somewhere for chump change. No, that was a bad investment. At emptiness for Michael, lamenting as part of his question, his Marlins. They won one game, right?
I think they've now won 3.
Oh, okay. I left off.
I believe they won 3 now. So I think they're 3-12 now, I think.
Oof. He's asking seriously though, how do you feel about the Super League idea, including one division for relegation and promotion? No, ridiculous. I don't like where it is now.
2. Sorry, Michael says 2 games they've won. My fault.
2.
Oh wow, what the hell is that? I don't know why that just happened. I don't know what the question
You're in
is
charge
here.
of the buttons. Is there a
I didn't
blue
hear a button. No, that's the thing. I didn't. Not a button. Nary a button was touched by me on this part. Whatever the question was, I disagree.
Add 2 letters, 2 words. Robert, we'll end with this. If you could guarantee a permanent return, he likes these sorts of questions. If you could guarantee a permanent return to a predominantly gold uniform scheme, the right gold he calls it, would you accept that if it meant we'd permanently and officially be known in perpetuity as Golden Knights? You got to be called Golden Knights to get the gold uniform.
I can understand Robert's confusion, Trace. You have a lot of PTO. So maybe he thought Brian Peterson was going to be on the show tonight, because I don't think this is a question for you and I. I'm really not. I don't look good in gold. I've in case you can't tell, I have very pale skin. Gold is not a power color for me, so I do not want to wear gold just as a fan color. So I'm okay if we're not wearing gold. I don't know if you thought Brian was hosting tonight. Maybe you just got the schedule mixed up. I think you get the wrong host. Sorry.
I will. I'll accept it. I'm with Brian on bringing back gold. So I'll buy him.
Look, I feel about gold like you feel about Citronaut. You want to bring back a gold set for a fun event or something like that. Gold pants are fine. Gold jerseys, but you want to do one like Color Rush style game with the gold. Sure, count me in. But I don't want to be wearing gold every week on the field. I like the black. I like the white. I like the Citronaut. I miss the pewter. Bring back the pewter. If you call me the Pewter Knights, Robert, and I'm all in on that.
The Pewter Knights. Thank you everybody for your questions. Hey Adam, what's in the box?
It's a great question, Trace. Let me get this box here. While I'm grabbing that. Did you know this is brought to you by Charlie Hustle, by the way, where you can get 15% off your first order. Go promo code 1012 TEN1215. Questions are getting scarce, Trace. Only 2 left here. I'll let you pick this one.
Gotta restock the box.
You want my left hand? Or you want my right hand? What do you want?
Left.
Left hand it is. All right. So I'll put that down. Let's go here. See what we got here. This is a security system here. Name one state you would never want to move to.
Name one state I would never want to move to. Yeah. I have not been to this state. I would like to visit this state. I cannot imagine spending one moment living in this state, though. Alaska. I do not like cold weather, so there's no way I could live where it is as cold as often. It's dark for half the year. No way, no how. So it would be Alaska, though I do want to visit at some point. I'm sure it's beautiful. Visit, not live.
That's a great answer. We got a New Mexico on the board. I can't disagree with that. I spent
Isn't Matt from New Mexico?
I don't know. I spent a month in Albuquerque.
Hey Clay, look up Matt's address.
Yes, next time. Spent a month in Albuquerque one night. Arkansas, another good option. Yeah, Mario, that's a great choice. I don't think anyone wants to move to Arkansas. I'm gonna go with what state can I insult here? Look, I wouldn't do well.
Let's not insult states.
In Wyoming. I'm not an outdoorsman. I don't want to hunt anything. I want my food. I don't want to have to kill it to get it. And so I just don't think I would be well suited to be there. It just doesn't match my vibe.
Gotcha.
And Alaska, I could just stay in the
Bluest
house.
skies I've
right?
ever seen though is Wyoming. No pollution.
That's because there's nothing else going on. What is she gonna do, Trace? Like
500,000 people, I think, and biggest city's 50,000. So bounce house holds 45. So that okay, puts that in perspective for you.
what's the chain restaurant scene in Wyoming? We got an Applebee's there, a Chili's. You and I had a fantastic lunch at the Ale House today, by the way. Ale House is up there? Nothing?
No, I don't. I can't.
How am I getting my food? I'm concerned about this.
You're killing it. You said
Best
why
ski
we
resort in the nation, but I'm going to live at the ski resort, Mario. Can you live there? I mean, I don't know how to ski, but I could learn. Do you know how to ski, Trace?
I don't.
Ever tried?
It's one of those risk reward things. Having torn an ACL, I made the decision that it was not important enough for me to learn how to ski at any point because I don't want to go through that again if I can avoid it.
I don't want anything on my feet outside of shoes. I don't need roller skates, roller blades, ice skates, skis. I want to control my own destiny with where my steps are taking place. I can't rely on an apparatus. I've done some water skiing. I don't know if that counts. I've done some wakeboarding. I'm not sure if that counts, but I need control of my feet at all times. And I don't like not having control of my feet.
And that is What's in a Box, brought to you by Charlie Hustle.
You're getting it, Trace. TEN 1215, 15% off your next purchase. Non-sale items only, though, people. Don't be greedy.
Want to thank Alex Cesarano from UCF Athletics and, of course, Coach Lounsbury for joining us. We will see you out at the spring game. Say hi. What time are you planning on arriving? It's a 7:00 kick for that first part of the
yeah, I'm hoping to mosey over about the 5:00 mark, Trace. Maybe hit the Burger U, grab a couple of things that are cold, and mosey my way into the stadium. So hope to see some folks there, and just excited to be back at the bounce house, back around all you crazy people, enjoying one last evening of football before we all have to take a 5-month hiatus. We might as well go to Alaska at this point.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Great working with you today at the Varsity Knights golf tournament. You'll be seeing those videos. Be sure to hop on Sons of UCF YouTube channel right now. So many one-on-one interviews and scrum interviews and so much sound and recaps that'll tide you over for as long as we can over the course of the summer. For Adam Eaton, I'm Trace Strolko. Go Knights!
Charge on.
Trace always has this segment that he calls the walk and talk. Well, let me introduce you to the roll and stroll. And on that note, I'm Andrew Cherico, and thank you for watching the Sons of UCF.
Such a good kid. I mean, I can't even.
Well, hopefully you'll get to meet him tomorrow.
I do want to meet Andrew Cherico. Yes. That meme of